These two aquarium pumps are not performing well. They just can't move the same amount of air that they once did. Perhaps a little do-it-yourself maintenance can fix the problem. Let's find out. First, the pumps are unplugged, and then the screws that secure their covers are removed. Once the cover is off, I look for obvious problems but don't see any. The lever is fine and the diaphragm isn't cracked, so the check valves are inspected next. I pry out this assembly and pull the diaphragm off to look at the valves. They're dirty and need to be cleaned. After removing its retainer, this little thin, flexible piece of the check valve was taken out. A Q-tip moistened with plain water and a small pick were used to clean dirt from this valve cavity. I'm careful not to scratch the area around the little hole that the flexible flap seals against. A paper towel and some soapy water help to clean the little flexible piece, but it looks to be permanently stained. I don't mind the stains as long as the flap seal's okay. It's rinsed well and then dried off. When I'm satisfied that the valve components and the diaphragm are clean, the pieces are reassembled on this side. Now the check valve on the opposite side is examined. To access it, these two covers are removed. I see plenty of dirt, so this valve gets cleaned the same as the previous one. Then the rest of the assembly is cleaned. Before I reassemble this side, I blow through the outlet tube to make sure that air moves freely through the slots shown here. There aren't any obstructions, so after cleaning, it's reassembled. This round rubber disc should be put on in the same orientation as it came off. Once that assembly is back together, it's installed back into the pump base like so. A quick check to make sure everything looks right, and then the cover goes on. The screws are installed and it's time for a test. Cool, actually works like new again. But this larger pump with the dual outlet has seen a lot of use, and I'm not sure if cleaning will be enough. Maybe though. The cover comes off first. Then the screw securing the valve and diaphragm assembly was removed. After pulling out that assembly, I take a look at the valves. They're nasty. I didn't realize it was getting this dirty. The pump is over 10 years old and has been used in some dusty environments. I should have checked it sooner. One more valve to inspect while on this side. Very dirty. They're cleaned with a wet Q-tip, just like the valves on the previously shown pump. Although this pump is designed differently, it looks like the little flexible flaps and their retainers are interchangeable with the ones from the single outlet pump. When clean and dry, the valves on this side are reassembled. I used a paper towel moistened with plain tap water to clean off the rubber diaphragm because I was concerned about soap damaging the rubber in the long term. The couple of parts that were washed with soapy water get thoroughly rinsed afterward. I only used about a drop of dish soap diluted in about 2 cups of water. Once this side is clean, dry, and reassembled, the other side is then opened. Cleaning all the valves at once would probably save time, but it's easier for me to keep track of the small parts this way. Same story with the valves on this side. They're cleaned in the same fashion as the others. I take care not to allow water to get onto or into the electrical components. A damp rag worked well for removing dust, but it's important to let everything dry completely before reassembling the pump. When I'm sure the parts are dry, it all goes back together. Replacement filters for these air pumps were cut from a paper towel that was folded several times. Scissors worked fine. Didn't need to be exact. I cut the filters a little on the big side so that they would fit snugly and not leak any air around the sides. It took about 5 or 6 layers of these little discs to make the filter. Once the filters are cut down to the right size, the old air filters are removed and the air inlet is cleaned. Now the new filter discs are installed and tucked under the tabs that secure them. Now the test. I'm surprised to see how well it works after cleaning. Guess I need to open up and check these pumps more often. The ones shown here almost completely stop moving air. However, the electric components still function properly. Upon inspecting the valves, I found this flexible flap that had broken. A new flap was cut from a package of screws, and although it wasn't as flexible as the factory piece, it still worked. I show that repair in another video, as well as talk about some other options for do-it-yourself valve flaps. Well, I'm happy to report that the valve cleaning has restored the performance of these old pumps. I think I'll probably service my air pumps a little more often from now on. Thanks for watching.